You are not alone. Welcome to the Clark and Linda Show.
This is our real relationship, experiencing change after addiction and betrayal.
We're learning to connect to feel safe and confident in marriage.
And you can too.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the Clark and Linda Show.
Welcome
Part
to the
two.
show.
Part dois? Is that how you say it in Portuguese?
Well, dois is two, but part is not Portuguese.
Right. I don't know how to say part in Portuguese.
It's really hard.
Parchi? Hey, just add an E and say it funny. Anyways, thanks for coming, watching. Part one was all about resources for the recovering addict and the betrayed. So, I think it was your turn. I think I left.
No, I did helping her heal, didn't I? Dr. Wise.
Oh yeah, you did talk about
Sort
that.
of. Okay. We squeezed it in real quick.
Squeezed it in really quick at the end. But
we
again,
should just get this one out of the way anyway, because I can see what you got next.
Again, all these show notes will be available on clarkandlinda.com. It's just our blog. We're going to be posting up these videos on YouTube and the podcast in iTunes and on the website. Anyway, so find us there. Also on social media, we'll be putting up some gems, some quotes that we like or things that have helped us throughout this journey. Again, if you are new to our podcasts, do you want to tell us why we're here? We're new. If they're new.
If you're
new to the show, because it's not just podcast, right?
We're here because I struggled with pornography addiction and am in recovery, getting over that. But my addiction caused my wife to experience betrayal trauma. And so she's been working on trying to heal, and we're trying to strengthen our marriage and our family and push back against Satan and the powers of darkness, and hopefully put our story out there and some of the things we've learned to help others who might be in a similar situation.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get into the rest of our resources. Okay, if you know us, this is going to be an easy one. But if you don't know us, you're going to be like, why is this on there? So, Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. You're going to be like, why on earth would we need this for betrayal trauma?
That's a good question.
So I'd probably say I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur, if you will. I've started several businesses. I can't say that they're all successful or that they've sold for millions of dollars, but I like to start businesses and like to think of ideas for businesses, and our kids, they love to start businesses, and I'm the wife of an entrepreneur as well. So anyway, something that my brother sent me, I think early on in the recovery process after D-Day, he sent me like this video because he went to a conference of Grant Cardone, and he sent me this video, and basically it was a little bit ridiculous, but it was amazing. The quote that he was sharing with me said that our goals needed to be bigger than our problems. And I was just like, wait, what? And I thought about that for, a minute. And even though it sounds ridiculous, it is so true. Like, what are our goals, and are the thoughts that are consuming my life, are they centered around my problems, or are they centered around my goals and who I want to become and who I want to be? And so I realized that during the phase of discovery and trying to move past a lot of this trauma and try to heal was to help me focus on not just overcoming trauma and thinking about my husband having been an addict or being an addict, because, in that discovery phase, you still, as a wife, you still feel like your husband's doing that. It doesn't matter how many days they've gone without, without acting out. And so to you, it's just brand new. And those emotions are real. And so I had to get myself out of my husband is an addict and he's doing all this stuff and it's hurting my feelings and it's hurting me and it's hurting our family. And I needed to focus back on the person that I want to become and where is my life going? And, am I teaching my kids something or am I just lashing out at them? Because I have a bunch of betrayal trauma, and it's legit. Like, you can lash out at your kids and you're going to feel bad about it. And you know what? They're resilient. So I don't want to say to like, just lash out at your kids and it's going to be okay. But I also don't want you to feel bad, because the adversary is going to whisper to us that we're not being good moms after this. And that's like number one. Like, we're not a good wife already, right? That's like the number one whisper. And don't believe that. But also we're not good enough as a mother is going to be our second major thing that he's going to fight with us. And so, in order to fight back, instead of focusing all your energy on that recovery of like that trauma that you're feeling, find what you're obsessed with. And that's why I had to get this book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. Find what you're obsessed with and do like a passion project. Do something that will get you out of that like mindset of just like poor me and victim mode, because like, again, we're validated in those feelings. I will be the first one to sit down with you and give you a hug, and we can spend hours, talking about how it sucks. But in the end, what are we going to do about it? And so even though it's a little bit crazy, and some of the quotes in there are a little bit crazy too, but you know what? Be obsessed about something and do it. Like, do your passion, like, go for it.
And I totally support that message. I sometimes will, tease Linda a little bit about liking Grant Cardone so much. He rubs me the wrong way a little bit sometimes.
He might sound a little bit arrogant, but you know what?
He's a bit arrogant. He's a little bit worldly and materialistic. And, like, a lot of his goals are about, like, having a lot of money or, different things like that. But I totally agree with what she's saying when it comes to our focus. I think in the first episode, I quoted the scripture in Romans about be not overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And I think that we have to have those things that we're obsessed with, those projects that we're working on,
wholesome recreational activities,
to bring to pass much righteousness. As it says in the Doctrine and Covenants, we need to be anxiously engaged. And if we're just, and again, I think in our last episode of resources, we talked about that which holds your attention holds you. And so if all of our focus and attention is on the negative of our problems, then that's what's going to hold us. But if we can put our attention onto, righteous goals, worthy goals, things that are worth our time and energy and effort, then it's going to be great. So I fully support that message, even though sometimes Grant Cardone might rub me the wrong way.
If you look him up on YouTube, there's some language there. So I don't necessarily agree with using vulgar language to get your point across. But anyway, so
okay.
His book does not have any vulgar language, though. His book is good language. So, yeah.
You may have caught me glancing at my phone a couple times, looking for my next resource, or I was looking to make sure that I got that scripture right.
He wasn't
in Romans.
checking to see how many likes we got, I promise.
When she tells people to go to our social media channels and things like that, you can pretty much guarantee that that's going to be managed by Linda mostly. I am not really on the social medias so much, so I wasn't checking my Facebook or my Twitters. But when it comes to, I think we talked about journaling, I love, to type and love the digital journal. She loves to write it out with a pen. I have really embraced digital books as well, and so I do a lot of my reading on my Kindle or on my phone. I also listen to podcasts like crazy. I think that
Awesome.
my Men of Moroni group probably gets sick of me talking about things that I learned in a podcast, or I was listening to this podcast this week and heard this. And even Linda, I think
all those
too,
resources, though.
all the
They're
time.
so
She'll tell me something, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember hearing about that in this podcast. Let me find it and send it to you. And so appropriately, my next resource that I want to share is a podcast, because I've kind of been going in order a little bit of how helpful I found some of these things. And Linda, of course, I let her use the Book of Mormon, but that probably would have been top of my list as well, just the scriptures and resources.
Did you see how that works?
From the church. I knew
I have
that
several
she
copies,
wanted
by
to.
the way. I can read my own.
I'm just saying, I knew that you wanted to share that resource.
Yes, thank you.
But the next one I wanted to share is a podcast, and it is called The Betrayed, the Addicted, and the Expert. And
it's my favorite.
is awesome. The premise is basically summed up well in the title.
We just
It's someone like me who is overcoming an addiction to pornography.
Right?
Yep, Coby, Ashlynn, and Brandon.
Okay,
Oh,
seriously,
man.
I'm sorry.
I've listened to so many episodes of this.
But we usually listen to it at double speed, so...
Or 2.5 speed even sometimes.
Yeah, but go to AshlynCoby.com or CobyandAshlynn.com. They have their 2 videos of, they kind of explain their story. And it was like professionally made. I think it's really well done. And it really helps you connect with them and identify with their feelings and the things that they kind of went through.
And one of the things I really love about this podcast, Coby and Ashlynn have obviously put in a ton of work, and they have learned a lot. But what's great is they've got this certified sex addiction counselor on the podcast with them. And so a lot of times we talk about how we're not experts, or we don't really know. Well, they have an actual expert, and
it's so cool.
It's really awesome to hear some of the things that he is able to say, and that he's spent so many hours helping people who struggle with these same issues, and has also gone to school and studied and received multiple certifications in various areas regarding these subjects. And so it's so helpful to get those different perspectives from the addicted, from the betrayed.
Pretty sure we've listened to all of them. We went way back to the very beginning.
Yeah, I definitely started at the beginning, and it's really helpful. I think it's validating.
Very validating
and
our feelings.
Yeah, it helps you know that you're not the only one out there.
We're not crazy, I promise.
And they do a good job of making it entertaining and fun sometimes too. They're not afraid to laugh and joke a little bit. But they do a great job. So I would highly recommend, and they deal with all kinds of different subjects. I know when we first started listening to it, we would kind of cherry pick, something that we felt like we were going through.
Yeah, we'd go through the list.
See something and be like, oh,
this one, I totally need this, and I'd binge listen to those like crazy.
Yeah.
I'd probably listen to 10 at a time. It's kind of ridiculous. I was a little bit obsessive. I've probably neglected the kids a little bit. They'd be talking, I'd be like, I don't know what you're saying. Please stop talking to me. I'm trying to listen to stuff about betrayal trauma that I'm experiencing. Don't you know? But they didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't
super great resource.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good strategies for dealing with things, and just a lot of great information. And yeah, I would highly recommend their podcast.
Great. I'm so grateful for
it's sort of like
stuff. Ashlynn Coby and Brennan. If you guys are listening, we love you guys, and keep up the awesome work.
We aspire to someday be as helpful as their podcast.
Yes.
I know they say they want to bring
a
healing and hope to others, and I know that they are accomplishing that. They're doing a great job, and you know,
blessing.
we would love to help others as well.
Just one person would be fine.
Yeah.
You know, if it's just us, it's fine. You know, it's probably just our parents are going to be watching this. It's fine. So, anyways.
Love
you
you,
love
Mom.
your mom and dad. Ma. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Anyway,
Your
our
turn.
next one. Okay, so I'm going to kind of clump these because this is going to take forever if we don't just like go a little bit faster.
We're going to have like part 5 of resources.
Seriously, at the beginning.
The resources episode, part 5.
At the beginning, this is all you want. You don't care about one specific person. You want it from all kinds of stuff. It's like fire hose. You want that, and you desire that, and you're just like, I don't care how much of the fire hose. I need the entire fire hose. So
At least that's how it was for us.
yeah, for me anyway. Good pictures, bad pictures, so helpful. From Kristen A. Jensen and Gail Pointer. They talk about porn-proofing kids, young kids today. They make it so easy to help kids understand what addiction is, what pornography is, in a not so graphic kind of a way. So it's really helpful.
All of these ones that she's clumping together are ways to, if you have
So this
kids,
was
family,
for our
that type of
kids.
thing.
This next one is My Body is a Gift from God, and it just kind of talks about like your body and you know, who's allowed to touch it or see it and things like that. And this one's by Cherie Adams Christensen, and it just, she says it's introducing conversations to safeguard children. And then this next one is 10 Powerful Things to Say to Your Kids by Paul Axtell. And this, yeah. So these two resources here, we ended up deciding that the kids needed to know because he decided he wanted to start going to Men and Moroni classes. They were going to be at night, and it usually takes up the time like around bedtime when he was helping put the kids to bed. And I expressed to him that it would help me feel safer and help me kind of share with the kids how, like, if mom needs a time to just, you know, be alone because I was dealing with my own emotions, or
And I had already wanted to share with them.
yeah. So it was kind of nice, but we didn't really know how to share with them. We weren't sure how they were going to take it. We didn't want to be graphic. We didn't want them to be curious either, because we know that as you bring things up to kids, it sparks their curiosity, and we didn't want them to want to know more about what is, you know, so we wanted to give them all the information. We read Good Pictures, Bad Pictures all the way through. And then I think it was, it's about, hold on.
Sorry, I was going to find it while you kept talking, but then
sorry. I was ready for it right here. It's called, the chapter is We All Make Mistakes. And it was just like a really great chapter that kind of helped share with kids, like, hey, you know what? Kids make mistakes, but then adults make mistakes too. And it's super, I don't know, I guess comforting to know that your parents aren't perfect. You know, your kids, we try to be so perfect for our kids, and we try to be like the authority and example for them at all times. But sometimes we make mistakes, and I know as a mom, I've made a lot of mistakes. And they also talk about like how to say sorry.
And it was just kind of nice to know that it was okay to do that, you know? Like, I mean, obviously you can always make your own decisions, but sometimes an expert who's like written a book and who, you know, has all these credentials about
to say,
and gives you the words, you know, and knowing that, oh, okay, admitting to my kids that I make mistakes isn't going to screw up my kids or isn't going to make them lose respect for me or make me a bad parent. I think sometimes we feel like we have to be perfect, and so it was kind of nice for somebody to say, no, it's actually really good to tell your kids that you make mistakes, that helps them not feel bad about themselves. It helps improve their esteem. And there's, you know, some other good reasons in there of why it's okay to admit to your kids that you make mistakes and to say sorry to them. And it talks about all the good things that come from that. And so that was nice for me to read.
Yeah. So it was really good resource to have there. It also has other powerful things to say to your kids. So, you know, parenting books are the best. And I also felt like it was helpful to talk to our kids. At the time they were 9 and 4. And so you know, you can't be super graphic about stuff, but it was good to talk to them about that. And then it was good to share like our goal together, you know, like to share with them that, hey, you know what, Dad made a mistake and he hurt Mom. But he's working at overcoming, you know, this addiction and wanting to stay with us. Like he doesn't want to leave us because he made these choices. He wants to stay with us.
And it wasn't a one-time conversation,
No,
right? We've made it clear with them that
we did sit down one time with them and specifically talked about it, but
it
then
wasn't
we've
just like
addressed
never brought it up again.
Yeah,
It's been an ongoing thing. Some of these books we're still reading and reviewing, and we feel like it's important to keep that conversation open and help them know that that you're a safe resource for them to talk about these things, because as they grow up, you know, like they're gonna run into things, and the more open you can make things, the more they'll use you as a resource rather than going to their friends or the internet or some other place that might be a little bit scarier. And so, we've continued to have these conversations. In fact, this next one we're still going through chapter by chapter.
Yeah, 30 days of sex talks sounds really intimidating, and
sometimes it is.
Sometimes it really is. But if you can approach it with a, you know, open heart, knowing that, you know, as you talk to your kids about these things, this one's ages 3 to 7. They have different age ranges, and since our kids are so young, we figured we'd start with this one and move our way up. But yeah, like sometimes it is scary talking to kids about like female parts and guy parts, and, you know, maybe they shouldn't know about female parts because they're boys, but, you know, I feel like they should, and it's a good idea so that they don't have that fear around it. And the more we talk about it, like he said, like the more they're going to feel comfortable coming to us when they have questions versus trying to go to Google for everything. So, yeah. So those were the kid resources all packed into one. Right. Real quick.
Okay. Next resource for me?
Sure.
How are we doing on time?
We have about 7 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to go with another book. And you know what? Actually, no. I'm gonna go with the talk.
Okay, I'll go with the talk after too.
That's not the right one. There it is. Okay. So, Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, one of the 12 apostles for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, gave a BYU devotional. He's definitely a favorite. He's awesome. But he gave a devotional on February 15th of 2000, the day after Valentine's Day. And it's titled, How Do I Love Thee? And he talked about love and relationships and how to be a good spouse. And he touched on subjects of infidelity and pornography a little bit, and I've read this talk over and over, and wait, is this the right one?
I think it is. I think I remember you sending me that one. It's a really good talk.
It is a really good talk. I hope I'm sharing the right one.
Oh, were you going to try and share a quote or something from it? It's okay. I remember you sharing this one with me.
It is a really good one.
So
I don't think this is the one I was thinking of, though. But that's
really?
Okay.
It's all right.
Sorry.
It's
That
okay.
is
Do you want me to share one?
that is definitely. I've got the one that I wanted to share.
Oh.
I apologize. You cannot go wrong sharing that one, but it's not the one that I meant to share.
We'll have the links.
It's a different Jeffrey R. Holland BYU speech.
It's easy to get confused.
Yeah, they're both really good. In fact, I could share one from conference from him too. That's a great one. I had that one pulled up also, which was a different
just
one.
Share
But
this
yeah,
one.
but I'm gonna the one I really want. Oh man, this is embarrassing. See, we told you that
It's
from
totally
episode
raw.
1
Totally raw.
that we weren't rehearsing this. So go ahead and read How Do I Love Thee. It's fantastic. But the one I really wanted to get at was Souls, Symbols, and Sacraments, which was from a BYU devotional January 12th, 1988. Also Jeffrey R. Holland. And anyway, we're short on time, and I know you want to share one. So I
that's
will.
Okay. Share what you want to.
I haven't had a chance to find the quote, but
Okay.
He really kind of talks about intimacy between a husband and wife and the role that it plays in Heavenly Father's plan for us and how it relates, and it's pretty awesome. I would highly recommend it. He's talking to a group of young BYU students and kind of counseling them how to remain clean. But I think it's great for anybody to read, especially people who are maybe struggling with issues of fidelity, pornography addiction, sex addiction, things like that. It just really helps you understand why moral purity is so important to Heavenly Father. And so it's a powerful talk. I would highly recommend it.
Sweet.
Evidently, I need to read it again because I confused the title of it with the other one.
Hey, that's okay. And then let's see. Since we're talking about things we find on LDS.org, I really liked the 7 Steps to Hope article. It was the February 2017 Ensign article, and it's called Heartbreak and Hope When a Spouse Uses Pornography. So 7 Steps to Hope. We'll include that in the links, but they talk about 7 different steps we can take to find that hope, because when we're down and out, when our husbands we just discovered or he just disclosed something to us, we need hope. Where are we going to find this hope? And I really appreciated that article because it was written in the perspective of a wife who had been betrayed. And like I said at the way beginning, I was searching for things, examples, things that had happened to people, anybody that had gone through this, that has survived this whole mess, really, and trial, challenge, whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, she talks about 7 different things that we can do in that article. And the number 1 thing was to address the betrayal trauma. And that, I think just calling it betrayal trauma and knowing that there was a name was really validating. It helped me research even more, but it helped me connect with other sisters and know that I wasn't alone in this. So anyway, I think our time is up.
And I think we've probably overwhelmed people with resources. I'm pretty
There's
sure we
so
could
many.
do another couple episodes, but maybe we'll save those for later.
Yeah, I think that we should just have to go buy all the books, read all that.
Some time to digest
There's your
some of these
homework.
resources. Binge listen to Betrayed Addicted Expert.
I know. I said I was going to share a podcast, huh? But that's the podcast I would probably share first anyway.
It's a great one.
So
there's several more podcasts. We'll get some more of those out in a later episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is enough to overwhelm anybody for a little bit. But go ahead, start getting into some of those, and we'll have another resources episode another time.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and listening to the Clark and Linda Show. And again, you can find us on social media, Clark and Linda. Or just go to the website clarkandlinda.com and you can find the different resources there. We're going to link the books and podcasts and things like that on there to help you. So send us a DM, send us a message, let us know which one of these things is your favorite. If you have any resources that we haven't shared that you love, please share them. We would love those as well. So.
And we forgot homework on the last couple episodes.
No,
homework is to discuss, choose something that you can read or listen to together so that you can discuss what you're reading and what you're talking about. And then make sure that you have some conversations about what you're reading.
If it's a page, or listening if it's a paragraph, anything, just
make sure you're having conversations about it. Yeah. Thanks for watching or listening.